Hi everyone, this is Joana from Sweets by Joana, and I'm so glad to have you here that you guys want to learn more about the icing sheets and it, all type of coverings, especially my signature ganache, which I created, and it's very, very stable. So I'm very, very happy that we can show you this this new recipe I created, and it's giving so much stability to our cakes, and especially when we use it with fondant and sugar paper, the icing sheets, And yes, normally, I don't know if you guys saw all the files that Sugar Art Canada, I'm sure, sent to you. But definitely, we're going to go a bit through it, and we're going to talk about all types of sugar papers, sugar papers, edible papers, better said, which we have available, which are, the sugar paper, the icing sheet, the wafer paper, the rice paper, and yes, on top of different coverings, like buttercream, like fondant, like ganache, and whipped cream, this is normal. And how to conserve our sugar paper and how to use them correctly. Okay, so this is, and we're going to learn from the scratch my black ganache signature, and we're going to cover cake and add the sugar paper on top. And yes, if you guys have any question, any doubts or something, you please just type down, any question you have in the chat of Zoom. So when I'm taking a break, I can answer to your questions and clarify all the doubts you might be having. And yes, like I said, nowadays, it's like we can customize any details and every logo or any image picture we want to our cakes and our, individual, desserts, like cookies, like, for example, casicles, and many other things which we can use the image, an edible image, on top of it, like a logo, like a symbol of it, For example, this logo, we can make a cookie. It's like a brand which wants some cookie with their logo. So you have the sugar paper, you take out a full paper of this logo, you just cut it, and just put it on top of your cookies or of your, like chocolate candies and lollipops, chocolate lollipops, of even if we can use it on isomer. In this class, we're going to talk about the sugar paper. It's the most used edible printing, and although, but not the only one, as we know. But yes, we're going to talk, the difference between the how you call it, wafer paper and the sugar paper and all that. The difference between the sugar paper and wafer paper, and actually the rice paper too, in sugar paper, the printed image is much better the quality, and the colors are more vivid, are more bright, and it's like very, very real, like a real picture. And taste and smell great, taste of vanilla, and it's flexible, much flexible and it's not breaking. That wafer paper, it is adapting very well to any surface we want to decorate with. The sugar paper is glued with plastic, you know. I mean, like you have an acetate paper on the back of the paper, of the sugar paper, which you have to take it out, you know. Let me show you. You have to take it out when you're gonna, you have to take it out. This is the sugar paper we have, but yes, it has an acetate paper on the back, so you have to take it out. This is not adhesive or something, but yes, you have to take it out when you're gonna put it on your desserts or on your cake. It's really important for you to make it, okay? And when we're talking about the wafer paper, the image is not so great like in sugar paper. The colors are duller and has a neutral flavor and is stiffer, which is very difficult to adapt to any surface, you know, and it's like more, you know, like difficult to work with. And it's less resistant to the moisture. And like when we work with wafer paper, we have to be very careful because it's not the same way we work with sugar paper. And you have any doubts, guys? Okay. If you have questions, we just type it down, okay? So nothing to be shy about it or something. We are here to clarify all your doubts. How are we going to stick this paper on a cover, on a cake covered with buttercream? Well, the buttercream, it is perfect cream to support edible prints, you know, which is one of my favorite after the ganache. And it's creamy and you do not have to use any type of glue, okay? You just have to smooth the surface when we're going to put it on the cake and place it well on the sugar and the cream, and that's it. You don't need to do nothing, only you have to. Now we're gonna make it with ganache, and in the same technique we am going to use to ganache, you have to use it with sugar paper, okay? With sugar paper, with buttercream on top, you know. If the buttercream is hardened and you can, the only thing you can do or let it outside of the fridge for 2-3 minutes and become a bit more, you know, but don't let it too much. We don't want our cake, when we're working with a buttercream cake and we're working with a ganache cake, we want a firm cake, we want a cold cake. I always work with cold cake because I want, when I attach the image, you know, when I stick the image on top of the cake, I want that cake to be pretty stable and to can move it and my hands not going, you know, touching and make like waves or something on top of the cake. So, and after that, when we're gonna fix it, put it on top, if it is like super soft, the cream, it will come out and you cannot work and move the paper perfectly when you want to work with it. You will see it now when we're gonna make the ganache one. And we can use even that, we can use actually I think you saw it on some of my reels, that I use a water spray, a small water spray, and it's helping to be able to stick it, the print on top. So, but don't use it in excess. You just try to use as less as possible, only to stick that paper on it, but don't go more than, you know, like enough to get stick, you know. When you stick the paper, the sugar paper on buttercream, make sure that it's completely glued to the surface and there are no area which are not adhering to the cream, because there's when appears the bubbles, the air bubbles, when appears, but normally air bubbles appears after we take out our cake from the fridge to the room temperature. Okay, so it is a very fast, temperature changed, and you have to be careful. And I highly recommend you always to use a closed hermetic box. But yes, this I'm going to tell you, when I'm going to give you the tips and tricks for you to make it better. So yes, this is very important to be careful, to follow actually the good procediment of saving your products, correctly. You can also, glue the sugar paper prints ahead of time. You don't need to make it before the event. But yes, for example, in cases like whipped cream or something, it's easier if we make it before, just before the event. But you can make it ahead of time, onto buttercreams as always, because like I said, you can make it in the evening, put it in your box, close the box, and let it in the fridge. And that cake, it will get the cold enough to be resistant all the day after be made for the event. So remember that the buttercream has to be firm and perfectly smooth when we add the printed. So it's really important that to chill the cake before you put the paper and after it, okay? And on fondant cakes, for example, it's easier, to stick the sugar paper on fondant. You have just to apply a little, edible glue and or piping gel or corn syrup with a brush, a small one. Do not apply a lot of product, okay? And always apply it on top of the paper. You do not apply it on the cake or on the other thing. Like this, you can control the surface, for example, if it's like less or big, and like this, you can control the surface you're applying on. And on our reverse, always on our reverse, okay? Never, and always taking the paper out, okay? You can glue the edible prints for fondant cover in advance too, with fondant always, as the fondant is super dry, so there's no risk for the sugar paper to get wet. Yes, but I always put my fondant cakes in my fridge, even if it is winter, because I like my cake to be chilled inside. And yes, I always use my magic box, my hermetic closed box for fondant, for ganache, and the buttercream, actually for all the types of cake I'm making, because like this, I'm preserving them for fast changes of temperature. So it's working with any type of cake. So I always do it. And in summer, if you put the fondant covered cake in the fridge, when you take it out, the fondant can sweat. So that's why I use the box like this. It will take, a while, and it's like slowly, not so fast, the temperature changed. And in this case, it's better to put the cake in the fridge without edible print, in the beginning, let it down. And when you take it out of the fridge, let it rest in a cold place or the dark, like not in the sun. And when it's absorbing all the sweat, or take it out by yourself with the paper. If you are in the rush, kitchen paper, you just take it out and slowly you take out the excess and let it dry. And after that, you just put on top the glue you want to with what you want to stick the paper or the corn syrup or pimping gel, and after that you add the paper. And yes, I'm normally using, if it is before the event, you just don't need to put it in the fridge because already being cold, all night, for example, you have it in the fridge. But yes, if it's taking more time, yes, it's recommendable to use the box and put it in the fridge. Like this, you can save it, and it's no problem for you to have, like any troubleshooting with the cake and everything. Well, on whipped cream, many of you asked me how to stick the sugar paper on a cake covered with whipped cream. Well, the sugar paper sticks on cream better and you don't need to use nothing like glue or something, because it's like super soft and creamy and moisture. But in the same time, this is a problem for the paper. So you have to be careful. Just take the cake with whipped cream to the freezer for 10 minutes before sticking the paper on it. Like this, it's not like, too soft, and you can touch it a bit and put it correctly. And if the sides of the paper do not adhere well to the cream, normally to solve this, you can make decoration with a pastry bag around the print, so that the weight of the decoration can finish the gluing, and the sugar paper, it's sticking correctly to the cream. If you don't want to make this, you just have to stick it better with your hands and make sure that it's not coming out, and put it in the fridge as fast as you stick the paper on it. It is not advisable to place edible impression on the cream in advance. Like I said, because the cream has a lot of moisture, and after a short time, the impression is beginning to spoil, and it's best to put them on the cake shortly before the party. On whipped cream, okay? We are talking about the whipped cream, not about other things. But yes, if you use the box, most probably it will not be no problem for you if you make it like we make it with the buttercream. But yes, you have to have that box closed, and you have to have space in your fridge to put that box and all that. It's really important for you to make it correctly, okay? Because if you don't, you'll you'll have troubleshooting, and you'll have troubles with your paper, and you'll find the air bubble and especially in the hot weather, it's super difficult to make it correctly. Okay. Let's see. Okay. So now we're going to go to learn how to stick the sugar paper on our cakes covered with ganache, with chocolate ganache. Actually, we're going to learn one today. My chocolate ganache actually is not the classic one, which is with whipped cream. Actually, it's with butter and has cacao. So it's different totally, but it's like best ganache I ever made, the most flexible and the most delicious and fast to make. And for working with it, it's really, really incredible. I really love it. So definitely it's my best option. To stick the sugar paper on cakes which are covered with chocolate ganache, you have to brush the back of the impression the same way you make it with the fondant, with edible glue or pimping gel, okay? So, or corn syrup, of course, and then stick the impression on the cake, just pressing, the print, the image on top of the the ganache and make the same procedure. You're gonna see it now when I'm going to make it for you. Actually, to stick the sugar paper on cakes which are not fully hardened like we're going to make it now, you can use a bit of water spray, like I said, or if it is soft enough, you just don't need to do nothing. You just make the same way we make it with buttercream normally, or with cream, and will not need glue. So you only have to put the impression on the cake while pressing lightly with our fingers, and this is which will help to stick well. It is very, very important that the surface on which we are going to stick the paper, the sugar paper, is very smooth, and so the prints will adhere, to the chocolate cake perfectly. Like this will not have problems. So we need to smooth pretty well our cakes. We don't need to have any gaps or something, or waves or whatever. And yes, you can also use sugar paper and add the sugar paper to stick the sugar paper on chocolate ganache in advance, like even after having a bit of time in the fridge overnight, it's all up very well. So definitely nothing to be worried about. Okay, so what we're going to do for now, it is that we're going to make our ganache. So we're going to, let me see, we're going to show you, I'm going to show you the image we're going to put on top of our cake. Let me see. So these are like pre-cut, images that I'm going to show you how to make this too, and you can stick it to your cake without need to use the complete image. And you can make today we can make a fall night cake, sticking this paper. In the class, you have already how to stick the paper, on top of how to stick the paper on top of the cake, and how you saw the classic one. But the same way, we're going to make it with a fall line cake, which is very, very interesting and nice to work with. So I think I'm going to use the image, and I'm going to show you how to cut this, because this is very important for you to know how to cut the image too. I normally, if you're going to cut the image, on top of this with scissors, it's better to take out the paper, the acetate paper. But if we're going to cut it with this pizza cutter, which is normally, or fondant cutter, how you call it, whatever you want. So it's easier for you to cut it, and you just use a normal instrument for you to cut it. There's nothing more than that. So, okay, let's go. I'm going to bring the stuff. Let's take like 5 minutes break, and I'm going to bring the stuff to make the ganache. Meanwhile, the ganache is getting cold. I'm going chilled. I'm going to check out your questions, okay? And nothing. And I'm going to make the receipt with you guys, okay? So let's take 5 minutes break. I'm going to take out the audio, like this is not, and we continue. You can write down the questions, like this we can check out with you and answer to your questions. Hi. So yes, I'm going to make the receipt now. Hi, love. You hear me? Can you hear me? Hello? You hear me well?
Yes, I can hear you. Hi.
Okay, I don't hear you. If you hear me, just type, okay? Anyway, many of the companies, they are off because they have vacation and they are in summer times and all that. So yes, the class, it is recorded while all what you received before that you came in. It's already recorded, so nothing to be worried about. We're just going to continue the class. The class, it will be recorded, for you for lifetime. Okay, so nothing to be worried. But I don't hear you, love. Okay.
Okay.
I just, if you want to say anything, you can just type it. Okay. So
Okay.
now I'm going to show you how to make the ganache. We already talked about the coverings. Of different coverings and how to stick the print on top of it. But this part you can you're gonna see it available after that, in the recorded part. Okay, so nothing to be worried. So we just continue it. Okay, so I'm going to make, I'm going to make the ganache one. Okay. So you can see how we're going to use the normal ganache. And this is the chocolate. You can use any chocolate you want to use. But the most important thing, it is to use a minimum 50% of cacao solid, okay? It has to have minimum 50. This has 54 and a half. But using a good chocolate, it will taste better, but you can use any of it, it works. And we have to use butter. The butter has to be with the 80%, of fat. Very important to not be very, this cream or something. It like the normal butter we use for our buttercream. So the same one with a lot of, of fat on it. So nothing to be worried. Okay, 1 second. Let me see. Okay. And yes, after that, we're going to take our measurement and use our print, our scale. I'm going to make half of the recipe, okay? You can make the recipe which you guys have. You can use it for 6 inches cakes to cover it, only to cover it, not to fill. Okay, this ganache I highly recommend you for using in coverings, not for filling. Okay, because yes, you can use it for filling, but I like the cream, which it is softer, like the buttercream inside, or the whipped ganache one, which is not like this one, which are for covers. The same ganache you can make it with brown cacao. Okay, you don't have to use the black one. You can replace it with the brown one, and you have a super firm chocolate ganache to use it with anything under fondant or under sugar paper, or to use it like a chocolate cake. Okay, it is super, super nice. So now we're going to use this type of cacao, which is black, full, 100% of cacao, okay, and it is intense black. You have many brands out there, so as long as you find the one which you like, so it's no necessary as long as has 100% of cacao, okay? So what we're going to do, we're going to melt all this and incorporate them together. So after that, we're going to add our cacao to our ganache, okay? So it's very, very important. I actually say for you to, I highly recommend you to stay, tuned, to not burn your chocolate. So just make it slowly. And if you don't overheat it or boil it, it's really, really important. Like this, we can make it faster. And we don't want to burn it, because when you're going to burn it, the sugar of the chocolate is coming out, and it will come like chips of sugar inside of our ganache. So we don't want that. Okay, so it's really important for us to not make something like that. If you have any questions, love, you just put it down and I'm going to answer to your questions. For me, it's fine. So nothing to be worried about. Let me see. Okay, so I'm going to put the melted part and melt this chocolate at a very low speed. I'm not going to put too much power. Okay, it's melted, and like this it will be easier to work with. Nothing to be okay. Looks like it's already hitting it out, so it's fine. We're going to put on top of our chocolate the melted butter. So like this, it'll be easier for us to melt everything. Okay. We're going to let it a bit, you know, to get melted. Mix it slowly because can, you know, just drop out. Okay, meanwhile, I'm going to show you how the ganache is after 1 day at room temperature. This is the ganache we made yesterday in our Spanish class. Okay, so this is the way it is after we made it yesterday. To show you the texture, you know, like this. Okay, it's super nice and stable. If you put it in the fridge, okay, this it will be harder, like super hard, but I have it at room temperature. You can let it at room temperature like for 1 day. It's okay. I let it especially for the class for you to see the texture you can receive, because when we're going to cover our cake now, it will be, you know, softer than this. I always like to cover my cakes with a very soft, you know, cream, even if they are ganache or buttercream, because like this I control the thickness of my cake, you know, of the cream I put on my top of my cake. So we're just going to mix a bit. If we see it's necessary to put it in the microwave for a couple of seconds more, we can do it. It's okay. You just don't let it alone. Just stay, you know, around to see it's not getting more than necessary, you know, to get softer, you know, still has some pieces. So I'm going to put here a bit, like 1 2 seconds more till it's finishing. Or we need to be all the chocolate melted before we add the cacao to it. So I'm going to put it on here, let it prepare, only to add on top. So yes, now it is almost there. Should I put it a very low speed, you know, very low power? But yes, I need to I don't want to have no, you know, no pieces of chocolate without melting, to be melted, you know, on top. 1 second more, because I put it very low. Very important to control our chocolate ganache. Yeah, now it's perfect. Now it is like it has to be. Okay, it has to be like creamy and super liquid. But yeah, I incorporated all our butter and all our chocolate is melted. So now we're going to add directly here our cacao. If we don't want to make it black, we can add the brown cacao. Okay. So I'm going to put half of it. So I'm going to put like 22 and 25. That's enough. With this, it's enough for us to use. You see, it's black, it's super dark. And now you're gonna see, okay? Now you're gonna see, when we're gonna mix it, it will be like this. This is totally normal. You just keep on moving and stir it, you know, till it's incorporating all our cacao to our, this is like it will be, but we keep on stirring and stirring. It's really important for us to get the perfect texture, to stir our mixture. Like this, we're gonna get our ganache, you know, perfect. And see, it's becoming softer and it's becoming like, but yes, a bit more, it will not be bad. Trying to cover everything. We don't need to make it, we use any health food color, any artificial color with this cacao black one. We already have our black, you know, ganache one. And apart, it's giving a lot of stability to our ganache and flavor of chocolate. If you want to add a drop of vanilla, you can put it, it's totally fine, or any almond extract you can add, okay? Or any extract if you want to put, which is on your taste. But yes, here we have our ganache already made, fast and super smooth. So now what we're going to do, we're going to let it chill a bit. And meanwhile, I'm going to explain to you, you know, how to conserve our sugar paper. And when it is a bit chilled, we're going to put it on top of, okay, already covered cake, you know, like this. We can put the last layer of the cake and we attach our sugar paper. So always try to use, you know, transparent film to cover your ganache like this. And this way you can save to, you know, to get harder and get any pieces of hardened chocolate on top. But yes, if you let it to room temperature, there's not gonna be a problem for it. So just trying to put it as closer to the chocolate ganache. Like this, it will be easier for you to preserve it, you know, correctly. Okay. So we're going to let it apart. Meanwhile, we're going to finish. And this is so easy and fast how we make our ganache. You don't need to make a lot of it. You can save it in your fridge. You know, you just check out your butter expiration date. So you can take it and have it in your fridge the same time as your butter expiration date. If not, you just put it in the freezer and you can freeze it up to 3 months and just take it out for the freezer to the fridge like you normally do. And after that, take it to the room temperature. So you can just use it. So it will be totally and perfectly fine for you to make it. So nothing to be worried about it. Okay, so we're going to to talk about how to preserve, our edible prints. Like I said, we always trying to, preserve them in our Ziploc plastic bag, which normally the brand we work with, like we buy the products from, they give to us, like this one, they give a very, well Ziploc, plastic bag, and close it. Make sure you close it very well, and we must avoid the direct sunlight. Like this, it will be easier for us to preserve it, and if not, the color, it will become like lighter, and it will eat it away, the color of the brightness of the color. And we always must to keep it in a dry place. Like this, it will not be a problem for us. Generally, the problems that we maybe have with the sugar paper, come from the excess of the humidity, or because our printing has dried, and because we didn't close well our bag, or we left it outside for a while. And you see now, because I have here an air conditioner and I took it out, it's becoming like drier. So I have to put it inside. It's really important for you to work it like normally you have to. And yes, this is like the perfect way to put on, the sugar paper comes out, always, I remember, like I said, comes out to the plastic, on the back of it, which is the acetate paper, and we always have to remove before putting the edible print on our cake. It normally peels very easily, but it might be because you let it outside, because of in some rare occasion, especially when it's, like I said, very hot, it costs us a bit to remove it. So if you see it's costing, don't try to break it. Just put it in the freezer, for 15, 20 seconds, not minutes, okay? We're talking about seconds. And we put the impression in the freezer, and we take it out, and it will come super easily out. The acetate paper from I'm having black hands now, from the back of our print image. And has happened that the impression has dried out. If your impression dried out, but yes, impression which has dried out for, like hours or a day maximum, not the impression which they are like for months there, for, forget about them, and you let it outside, that it's pretty difficult to recover it. So try to put a little water on the side, of where there's the impression on the back. With the sponge, you can put very less, and let it like for 20 minutes to get hydrated. So after that, you can reuse it. This is how things to be reused. Well, many people ask how long does that sugar paper last in our cakes? This is not about the sugar paper. It's about our lifetime of any cake we have. Actually, the duration of the sugar paper on a cake depends on the humidity, of the coating that it is. If you use a sugar paper on top of a cover with a cake with fondant or ganache one, it will stay perfect, and it will be much longer, that in coatings like cream, buttercreams, or have a type of soft, coverings. So it's really important for you. Actually, the most stable one, it is the fondant covering. After that is the ganache one, especially this one. And after the ganache, it is the buttercream one. Actually, I highly recommend you, when you use the sugar paper in summer, use buttercream, especially for hot weather. Like this, it will last more, the cake, actually. And for you know, for this reason is the best place to, you know, to use the perfect covering for your cake. You know, if you see you living in a country where it is very hot, so it's better to you to use ganache or buttercream, which is for your area especially made. Actually, you have a class of mine with 3 recipes of hot weather, you know, of buttercream of hot weather resistant, you know, one. So you can try any of it. So you can use it for your area. And if you want, you can use the ganache one. This is one, I'm telling you, it is like super perfect. But yes, this ganache, it is for chocolate, the dark chocolate. The white chocolate is different type of, it's a different type of proportion, ration, you know, and you have to use different product. Actually, it doesn't have nothing to do with this one. Many of you ask me if the white ganache has the same ingredients and proportion in making it in white. So nothing to do, because we are talking about white chocolate and dark chocolate, and they're changing a lot of stuff. So for white chocolate, yes, you have another recipe in my classes. So you can use that, make that class, and you can use it to cover with sugar paper too. It is perfect to use. But yes, I think sugar paper with dark ganache matches better. That's why I'm putting this class with sugar paper, this class of sugar paper with chocolate ganache, dark one, because I think it is the perfect, you know, taste when you cut the cake between chocolate, dark chocolate, and the vanilla of the sugar paper. And yes, we're going to work, you know, every time, like I said, we're going to work on make it perfect, you know, I mean, like trying to get to perfection. No perfection is existing, but yes, we're trying to use and improve our tips and tricks to make it perfect for our cake, and especially use that box that I am specifying before. Just even if you make buttercream cake, even if you make ganache one or whipped or fondant, just try, when you use your sugar paper, try to use that box, because it will avoid for you to come out so many bubbles, and it will avoid for you to come, you know, the contrast of temperature, you know, so fast and so deeply to our products, you know. So it's like we'll make like a barrier, you know, in between the hot weather from outside and the cold, you know, which is like in the box after overnight, especially. So yes, please think that it's important for your clients, you know, same, that to have a final product, you know, well. So yes, just use any box closed and put your cake. Even if it is not finished, you have to add some last decoration, the last moment, you can make it. But yes, keep it in the fridge till the moment you give it to your client, you know. It's really, really important. So let's see, I'm going to take out a cake which is already crumb coat with black buttercream, black ganache, sorry, I'm used to the buttercream. And we're going to add a new layer, you know, to this same cake, and we're going to make the perfect borders, and we're going to put it in the freezer for 5-10 minutes to become harder. And after that, we're going to stick the paper on it, and we're going to make a fault line cake, okay? Like I said before, because we already see a lot of, you know, the same way we make the fault line, the same way you have to stick the paper when you make it full cover. And yes, like this, you can learn a different way. In the files, you can see how you can, you know, perfectly cover your cake with on top. But yes, we can make the full line, and on the back, we can use the flowers ones, Like this, you can see different type of designs with sugar paper. Okay, so I'm going to bring it here. So here we have our cake, which it is super, you can hear it, that it's very dry. It's important to be dry. When every time we're going to put a layer on our cake has to be a dry one, okay? So like this, it will not be problem. We can use, you know, and now we're going to use our ganache, a soft one. I always recommend you to use the soft one, okay? You can see when we're going to fully cover now, you can see if we use the soft one, it's easier for you to cover it. But yes, when you're gonna use it on the layers, you can use it and make the crumb coat first time, and after that add the other one. So you can see slowly. I'm going to use a scraper, okay? Make it as straight as possible. Okay, so now we're going to go adding our ganache. You can see how beautiful and shiny it is. But yes, it will not remain like this when it's getting dry. It's chocolate, so it will become harder and more opaque, you know. It's not going to remain like this. Let's see. So I'm going to just add a bit more. It's really important to cover it nicely, no? Like this, you can make it super easy, you know. And but yes, for making this, you have to make it like 2-3 times, you know. You're not going to make it in once. You want to have to make a cover normally, and after that, you're gonna make another one and another one till you have fully covered it. Okay. So it's okay, that's normal. Still gonna use some. I'll try to cover it till the top, bottom of it. So there's no problem for us to cover our cake. I'm going to take a paper. Okay. Keep on. trying to, like I said before, we need a very well smooth cake to can put our paper. More important than everything is that our cake to be perfectly smoothed, you know, because this is the final cover it will have when we're going to add our, so we have to look. Now you see it a bit like different types of shades, but it's normal because the cake was cold. In some parts it's already getting dry. In some part it's still wet, so it's normal. And after that in the fridge it will get more dark, always, okay? So just the same procedure you have to make with normal chocolate, you know? You don't have to use a different one. Okay. Let's see where you see I have, you can see how soft it is, you know? It is super nice and soft. And I really enjoy, I mean, I love covering cakes of ganache with this, but with this ganache, because it's relaxing me. I think I'm not going to be in the acetate, this technique fast. Now I have to still enjoying our, you know, traditional way of covering, which it is like this. I mean, I like to control the thickness, or no, of my cake, and enjoying, you know, using the scraper on top. So I really love it, you know. It makes me feel like I'm creating it, no? So what we're going to do now, we're going to take it to the freezer for like 5-10 minutes. So after that, we're going to put our design on top and make our final one. Okay. I'm going to make a bit of space. So we're going just to let it, because it's almost perfect. Let me see if there it is any gap or something. Anyway, let's, like, as we're going to use it for a fourth line. So now you're gonna see how I'm going to make it. I'm going to clean this, and I'm going to clean the inside of the cake after that when it's getting dry. Okay. So I'm going to take it to the freezer now for 5 minutes. 5-10 minutes till it's getting chilled, because we want to make the perfect borders. Okay. So now we can take if you have any questions, you can just ask for them. Yes. Let me see. Any question you have, Sui? Let me know. And you can see in our, in our file I'm sending to you, that you can cover, like normally in the classic way, with the tabs on top, or we can use our design for making, I'm going to bring some flowers so you can cut them. 1 second.
Hi. Excuse me. Hi. Hi. Can you hear me? Suyani. Suyani. Sui. Can you hear me? Type.
Do you hear me? Do you hear me?
Oh, yes. Now.
Oh
Thank
my
you.
God, now I hear you too.
Sorry?
Now I hear you too.
Oh, okay. You can hear me?
Yes, now I do.
Oh, okay.
Just let me know, tell me. I was saying that you can make your flowers, you don't need to put them directly, in with all the sheet, just cut the design and put it on top of your cake. So like this, it will be easier for you to make it, okay? So this is why you can, we're going to make a fall line cake now. We're going to cover it with some sugar paper and make the fall line design. Let's see. I don't see you and I don't hear you, love. Okay, let's see. Can you hear me now?
Yes, yes. I'm here. I can hear you.
I'm going to take this out. Let's see how this is working. Okay, let me see. What did you type something? Let me see. Okay, I think it's more. No, now it is. Okay, now I see you perfectly. Do you hear me well? You hear me right, Sui?
Playing from desktop C8FP3DJ.
So I'm going to bring the cake. Let's see. Very important for you to cut your paper. I'm going to show you what it is. So like I said before, if we want to cut our paper, okay? If we want to cut our paper, this, like white part, normally you can make it, very nicely. But this one it is, sorry, this one it is edible fabric. One I'm going to bring you, this is edible fabric. This is a different type of paper, edible paper you guys might have available in Sugar Art Canada. This is the fabric one, which is coming with white part. And now I'm going to go with the sugar paper to show you how to cut it. So you can see you have different types of design. You hear me well? Because I took out the microphone. I had a microphone and maybe that's why I don't hear you. If I put the microphone, I cannot hear you. And maybe it's important for you to hear me well, better than.
Okay, I hear you.
How do you hear me now?
Oh, better. Yes.
Better?
Yes.
Okay, so I'm going to put the microphone, but I'm not going to listen to you. Just type if you want to.
Okay.
Okay, if I don't use the microphone, I can't hear you because I took it out. But if I use them, this is crazy, you know, I don't know what's going on. Okay, so this is the icing sheet you can use. You can have like this. They are incredible, beautiful, abstract one. You have normal one. You have like these ones, which golden. You have a terrazzo one, which is very nice. Love the terrazzo one. And you have this type of one. You can cut them and add them to your, like you make it here, the same way you have to cut it and put it. And this is very nice to work with. But what I wanted to show you actually, it is that, for example, if you want to take out some part of this, you know, you just don't cut it with your scissor like this. But if you want to cut it with a scissor, always, for example, in this case, you want to cut this and make the form with scissor, always we have to take out the acetate paper to cut it with the scissor. If not, it will not come so clean, the design, okay? The scissor, it will get stuck in the acetate paper. But yes, if we want to make perfect lines, you know, cut just like a part of it, a piece of it, you just use, oh my God, let me see if I can, 1 second, if I find the other one. Let me see where it is, the other product. This one. This is a pizza cutter or a fondant cutter, whatever you want to call it. You know, I bought it like a pizza cutter, but yes, they have a like fondant 1, 2, or something. So you just make it straight, and you to see that there is straight part. You don't take the acetate part out, and you just go slowly around the acetate paper, and you just take out the paper, and it's coming perfectly clean. And the acetate is not cut, you know, but don't take the acetate and cut this. Always cut it with the ruler, you know, with the rule. You know, with the rule you can cut it, you know. With a ruler you can cut it like this. It's no problem, you know. You see, like this, you can, if you want to make it smaller, because your cake, it is, if you see it is not perfectly cut, you just pass one more time with the cutter and it's coming perfectly out, okay? Always, you have your cut clean, you know, you don't need to make it, because if you cut it like this, for example, you can make it. You see, you can make it, but it is not perfectly clean, you know, it is like, you know, in waves. So it is preferable for you to make it, you know. I'm going to cut this piece, but you're not going to have, you know, a straight cut, okay? So, and when you cut very small details, you have to take this one, because the acetate paper, it will not let you cut this, for example, this border so tiny, so small when you have the acetate. So it's better for you to take out the paper, acetate paper, you know, which it is on the back. Let me see if I can take it, you know, before cutting it. But yes, for example, in this case, if you only want to take one part of this, cut this like this. For example, I want just only to take the, oh my God, one, okay? So yes, I'm going to cut it like this. take it out. I'm not going to take all the acetate from all the paper to let it dry. So I'm going to cut it, and here I'm going to take out the acetate paper, and after that I'm going to just finish, you know, my design. Always, okay? Never cut everything for one piece of it. So now we're going to look here. For example, some papers come with white borders. So because of the design it's coming with, so like the same way, you just cut it, you just take it and cut it, you know, you put it perfect, and you just follow the ruler, you know, and like this is no problem. You see, coming out, and we have our perfect design cut. So like this, when you put it on your cake, especially when it's in bottom, you know, if it is not perfectly straight, you're gonna have like, you know, waves and all that. It is look like not finished well. So it's preferable for you to make it well. But I highly recommend you the part you're gonna put on bottom, always use which is coming from the print. If it is in the both sides wide, yes, then you have to cut it. But yes, normally Sugar Art Canada make it perfect, like the full image. So normally no, they don't have problems with them. But yes, in other brands, you might, or maybe you print it in your home. It's better for you to make it like this, okay? So let's check out our cake, how it is now, because I think it's already chilled, and we can make the perfect borders. Okay, and let's see if we continue and let it down. Okay. So yes, it is like perfect now. So this is what I was telling you. On top of this cake, you just add the image, you know, and you can add it even like this, even like this, okay? So it will become super beautiful and different type. You know, you just need to put, you know, for example, you know, these are the leaves and all that. So you just can put them without you to put full cover of your cake. It is easier for you to work with. And especially for people, they don't like so much, you know, paper on top of it. So it's just a design. In one part, you can put some drips. Okay, so in another part, you put some flowers. Like, it's like a decoration you normally make with the pastry bag, or you make with fondant on top of your cake, only you make it with sugar paper. It's another option that you can do it. So now my cake, it has the borders, which are not perfect. I can let them like this and paint them in gold, or I just can make them straight, you know. Just taking, you can use a scraper, a sharp one, or you can use a knife. Okay, let me show you. Especially, let me clean this one before it's getting soft. The part which is on bottom, we can clean it like this because it's already dry, so it's easier to take out. You just need to pass. Or you can use the scraper. My scraper, it's super sharp. It's normally for bread. Or you can use a sharp knife and try to make the same procediment, you know, but always going inside of the cake, not taking outside your knife, always taking it inside. It's already, you know, like pretty hard. You can see. So like this, you have your border in seconds perfectly straight. especially in chocolate ganache, you always, in buttercream, you always gonna have them very fast straight. And you just pass a bit your scraper to assure yourself there is no extra, you know, and now you have it perfectly straight. And all that you take out, you're gonna put it back and reuse it. So here you have a perfect, you know, in seconds, you can see it there, it is, let me see, you know, perfect straight, you know, cake border. So now what I'm going to do, let me see. Let's see what design we're going to use on top of it. Oh my God, this is nice. This is really beautiful one. Let's see how beautiful is this one. So, like I said before, okay, like I said before, it's really, really important for you to can, if you have a soft cake, you cannot do this, you know, because the cream, it will come out, okay? So you have to have a very, you know, hard cake, even if you have to use some water spray, you know, but meanwhile we are trying it out so we can make it. So yes, for this cake, you're gonna need 2 papers of this. I have only one of these now, but I'm going to make one design here and I'm going to put another thing here for you to see different things. So, but you can make it both of them, and it's very important for you to make it correctly. I'm going to bring some water spray. 1 second. So this is water, just water. So you just gonna make it like this, or directly on the paper, or directly on this. So you choose the part, for example, you want to have on the bottom, take out the paper, and you just see it is becoming softer. Wait to check out, it's not moving. And I'm going to try to go till the bottom of it, and just from the middle going outside always, because we don't want to put bubbles inside. We want to take bubbles, you know, outside. So it's really important for us to make it like this. And you see, sometimes you can see you'd have to take it out because it's not perfectly the way you wanted to put it. So yes. The design is really, really, really beautiful. Okay. So this is nice. Now is that once we make it, you can just try to stick it well. If you want, you can take a paper to and just do not get it, you just get it sure it's adhered perfectly to your cake, you know, like this. with your heat of your hand, it's not coming out the color or something. You just make it like this. So now we have two options, or just cut in an abstract way, this one, or just putting it, folding it, on the inside of the cake. So I don't know what to do. You can even put this like this on top, it's a different design you can make. It's just way of imagination, you can use this and you just put this with printed, and makes like a different cake design. You can see how beautiful and abstract it is. So you can just, for example, take it out and break it. I like to use, especially in this type of designs, which are not so perfect, You just can break it or just fold it like it is in the video. I always put, but like this, you can give an abstract way to your cakes and different one. You can put flowers on top, one on the sides. Let's see. No, I don't like this one. The other one was better. I think the other one was better. But anyway, and yes, you can use any gold, and today you use gold highlighter. I use normally the Angela Morrison one, which I love it, with alcohol. Really important for you to use very less, don't use so much, because with a drop of it, you have a lot. I love using, this type of highlighter on top of my sheet. This one has golden details, so that's why I'm going to put some golden details here. You see, this is what I mean. I'm going to finish it in this way too, like it is the shades of it. So the same way you have to fully cover it when you have your cake to make it. You see, it's really and one more thing you can do is just to accentuate, your designs, you just can cast with a little bit of gold in the shade of yellow gold here. Like this, it will be like more strong and more beautiful for your design. You just mark this better. It's coming out. You can do the same way with the flowers. Actually, these flowers has this. I'm going to show you. So you give them an extra brightness to your designs. It's like giving a 3D effect, to your cakes. It's really, really nicely, and really love it. Okay. You see, this one has golden too, and gives a 3D effect when you put this on top of it. Okay. So for example, if you see something like you want to, you know, highlight this one part, you can make the same way with your highlighter. Okay. I mean, it's all about you in your imagination. There is no rule in creating, you know, you just have rule for covering, for using the correct way. But yes, when you just start creating and decorate your cake, there is no rule. So this, if it was, you know, you just can make it. It's like a wave, you know, perfect there. Whatever decoration you can make, it is like I said, on top of this, you know, you can just use, but what I'm going to do, I'm just going to put water on top of the flower. Okay, I'm not going to put it on top of this because it has a small part, small shade. So like this, especially on black cakes, it's super beautiful when it's coming, and it's getting super fast sticky. And when you put it into the, and now with the paper, you have to put, because you want to get correctly, you know, stuck on top. You see what I said, sometimes it's coming the color of when you use water. So you have to use paper. Okay. But like this, we are sure every pocket is correctly put. Okay. You see? And now you can make a drip here, a golden drip, and you can make any other decoration. You can do sprinkles. So you can do whatever you want to with it. And I'm going to put, for example, this abstract paper, which you have on IGTV. This is wafer paper abstract, which I made. You have in IGTV how to make these designs of wafer papers. So you can use it, you know, or you can use any flower. But I love how these ones give the touch on the cake, and you don't need too much work. So you have a perfect, you know, different design, and you can use flower, you can use anything, but like this you have everything perfect. I mean, like, it's an abstract beautiful cake. You can fully cover it, or you just let it like this, you know, like for example in pink one, you know. But I think it's great to use this type, or any type of straw. You have a lot of tutorials in my page. I'm sure many of you already saw them, that you can use them, you know, and decorate with them. You know, you can just use and make an extra, you know, different type of cake design. So I think it is super, super interesting and super nice working with wafer paper in combination with sugar paper. And this is the difference between a classic cake with this one, you know. I mean, like, I'm in love with it. I really, and the colors in the highlighter of the gold, and this sales, it would say, which it is like so easy to make. If you see the IGTV video, it's super easy to make. It gives like an extra touch without, and everything is edible. I mean, like, you're maybe not going to eat this paper, but it is edible. I mean, like, you can put it on top of your cake without no problem, and nobody's going to eat. But this is super tasty. And when you're going to cut your cake, it's very important for you to, the ganache to be hard, for you to cut the hard paper, but it's cutting normally. You have a sharp knife and it's cutting perfectly too. So now the most important is, once you made your cake, take the cake, put it in a box and put it in the fridge and close the box. If this decoration, for example, is not letting you close in the box, put it in the last moment when you give it to the client. Okay, you just let the cake and put the decoration. But the normal, which is the icing sheet, just let it there. And there is going to be no problem for you to have bubbles and nothing on top of the cake, okay? It will be like perfect straightness and super dry. And this is now because of the cake, it's coming in a hot weather temperature. In the cake, it's cold. It's normal for the condensation to can happen, and your cake, it is sweating and giving, water, I mean, like it's like sweating out, and the paper it's like a sponge and it's taking that water inside of it. So it's normal when the bubble is coming out, but it's, it's getting more fast in a buttercream in cake that it is getting in a ganache one, and in fondant even less. So hope you guys love this new design. I really love it. I really enjoy it. You can see, put the golden one, you just use that. In the paper, it's really fast, easy to make. And actually, I think it's a very, very beautiful way to create a cake design, without too much, stress and nothing. You just have a nice, easy abstract design, which it's perfect. And it's just a sugar paper, and you don't have to mix color to do whatever you have to get these colors, like you have it there, and you have a chocolate cake, on the bottom. So yeah, I think it's perfect for you to give to a client a different type of product. And it's nice, it's modern, it's like, different than the normal cakes. Anyway, I'm going to put it in the fridge. This is very important. And if you guys have any questions, just put it down, okay? And just let me know if okay, just let me know if I can help with anything. Any other questions? Oh my God, my hair is like. And yes, don't worry. I know this class has a lot of people registered, but definitely I think the vacation, the summer one, everyone, they register, and after that they are, watching the recorded videos, and that's totally normal. I totally understand. That's why it's one of my last class, because I'm taking vacation too. So you just enjoy this class, and hope to see you soon in October and final of September, most probably. I mean, like in the second part of September, I'm starting the new, classes, the new season of the classes. And I really hope you guys enjoy it, especially you love that you are here. And thank you for, for being here and not hearing and hearing and all that. But yes, any doubt you might be having, you just write me down. The recorded class, it's always sent by Sugar Art Canada, because this class is in collaboration with Sugar Art Canada, okay? So they will send you, always you will receive from them the recorded class, like you receive the book, receipt, and everything, all the details to enter in the class. So they will send to you. They will take like 48 hours for you to send it, because they will edit the video for you to have the perfect, to not have to wait all the breaks we made between, and see like this, you're going to have everything compact and fast. And nothing. Hope you enjoy it, and see you soon to the next one, and enjoy summer. Have a lovely day. Kisses. Bye, love. Thank you.